Henry has returned to Hong Kong after serving in the U.S. Navy for years, looking to begin a career as a teacher. He goes to his former school, Tukey Secondary. The most important notes that he would not have journey in teaching, but after being shown a recommendation letter from a higher official, he is given the job earlier than Henry leaves. The Essential informs him that the class he has assigned to train is one of the worst in the school. The morning of his first day at school, Henry walks into the class to see that it is an absolute chaos. Some students are sleeping, others are singing. Some are playing video games whilst a proper quantity of them are cooking ramen on a portable stove. Even after the instructor walks in, they absolutely skip him and proceed what they are doing. Henry tries to get their attention, but they fake to now not hear him. He gives up on attempting to divert their interest and goes around the classroom, commenting on the things they are already doing. The college students who are cooking are asked to consume much less ramen due to the fact it consists of too much sodium. Henry then processes a guy named Za taking part in a ukulele and helps him with it. Similarly, he warns a gamer kid towards the radiation he might get hold of from staring at the screen all day. Geez. If it is an actual thing, then it is too late for all of us. Anyway, when the students subsequently start listening to him, he introduces himself and writes his identify and smartphone range on the board. The students laugh due to the fact his handwriting is ugly. Then anyone from the students calls him and asks him to leave the class. But Henry laughs it off. The kids skip him but once more and proceed with the things to do they were doing earlier than his arrival. Having ample of it, Henry makes use of a rubber band and piece of chalk to trigger the furnace sprinkler in the room. The students quickly unfold out to maintain themselves from getting wet. He subsequently receives their full interest and officially welcomes them to his class. Go wait the hall. Welcome to my class. After class, a crew of 5 lowest-rating college students gathers in the sports activities supply room to smoke. The chief of the group, Jack, has a crush on an A-grade student from some other class. The others find him staring at her picture and make exciting of him. The team has a rivalry with the rich and spoiled kids from the school's basketball team. They enter the furnace room and mock Jack as regular because he is negative later. The basketball group is practicing whilst Jack and the team watch them from nearby. Jack drops a bottle on the court, which causes the group leader to fall. The group laughs, but is given detention by way of the school's English teacher, Miss Li Yang. To keep away from detention, they play a prank on her and run away. When she is busy cleansing her desk elsewhere, the school's main is distressed because the schooling board is planning to deduct 20% of their annual funding. The human beings from the board come to take a tour of the college to look into where the dollars are being used. At the identical time, Henry enters the study room where the students have set up a bucket of water to prank him. However, his reflexes work faster than the falling bucket, and he is in a position to push it away. The students who had been waiting to make enjoyable of him are left shocked. Henry asks for Jack's packet of cigarettes, knowing that he smokes. Jack certainly palms him the pack. Curious as to what he is about to do, then Henry asks ZFA to identify the 3 components that are in a cigarette. When he answers the question correctly, he is allowed to ignore category for the day. Everyone begins to bang on their desks, demanding that they have to get to skip class as well. When they stop, he palms them all a cigarette and asks them to analyze it. Henry knows that if he truly mentions the impact it has on their health, they won't take it seriously. So alternatively, he asks them about the consequences of smoking cigarettes and explains how tar types in their lungs. For the first time they pay attention to the trainer and are really interested in learning. After the bell rings, he asks them to return the cigarettes and the college students reluctantly agree. That day in the cafeteria, the captain of the basketball team makes one of Jack's friends, Bruce, a trip on his leg. This gives rise to an argument between the groups, which soon turns into a fight. They throw food and tables at every other, destroying the location later. Henry is knowledgeable that 5 students from his type have been quickly suspended for beginning their fight. Henry finds Jack struggle his opponent in the hallway and stops them on being requested to calm down. Jack accuses the school of being unfair due to the fact the prosperous kids get no punishment that day after school. Henry goes via the archives of all 5 college students to locate out greater about them. The first man is named ZFA, the son of a Pakistani immigrant, who is always discriminated in opposition to due to the fact of his race. He is often accused of stealing through the policemen in his neighborhood. Za's only desire in his life is to emerge as a musician. The second pupil is a lady named Dion. She used to be a disappointment to her father, ever considering the fact that her delivery due to the fact he always wanted a son. Her whole existence Dion has been making an attempt to reap her father's respect. She even reduced her hair to a shorter length and played with motors to pretend to be a boy, yet her father would not care about her whilst he treats her younger brother like a prince. Then there are brothers named Bruce and Chris. Their mom ran away with a man when they had been only kids, which grew to become their father into an alcoholic. The brothers only had each different to rely on whilst developing up. Bruce grew to be obsessed with video games to escape reality, while Chris labored difficult in a grocery shop to make cash for the family. Lastly, Henry can find no information about Jack's household background. In the following scene, we see Jack working at a restaurant as a waiter, an MMA bettor. John Yang arrives at the restaurant with his commercial enterprise partners. When Ji Yang is not searching, Jack steals his fancy lighter, however is caught. John Yang's guys beat him up as he examines Jack's ID. After discovering out that he is a student, he gives some money and presents him a job as their meals delivery man. Somewhere else, Henry visits Zha's domestic and finds him going for walks away from his father and his associates. After stealing a ticket, he helps him at first, however after finding out why he is being chased, he takes the father's side. Then he and ZFA come to cling out at a bridge to motivate ZFA into doing anything he wants. Henry sings with a band performing in the streets. Seconds later, ZFA joins him and sings in front of people for the first time for the reason that being bullied at faculty years ago. Meanwhile, Bruce and Chris's father comes home late, like always, and orders them to bring him a beer from the store. When the brothers refuse, he yells at them to get out of his house. The subsequent day, Henry meets with their father and convinces him to go to rehab for his son's well-being. In the meantime, Dion's father brings her a bag of makeup products and asks her to act like a lady for once. Din is livid at him for usually making her sense like she's no longer correct enough. She applies the makeup on her youthful brother and sneaks out of the house with the vehicle key. She is about to force away in her father's car, however is stopped by way of Henry. At the proper moment, he tells her that driving except a license is illegal and suggests an alternative. Following that, they go to a go-kart racetrack. Henry additionally invites her father and makes them race. The father and daughter show no mercy to each different at some point of the race, and eventually cease up outside the track. Suddenly Dion's go-kart is hit by way of a vehicle, however she manages to dodge it unaware of this. Her father cries mourning his daughter's death. Dion realizes that he does in truth love her and hugs him. The next day at school, Bruce and Chris, alongside with a team, are dispatched to a rehabilitation center to interview a convalescing alcoholic. They're surprised to see that the character they have to interview is their father. The students ask him how he started to drink. The man solutions that he loved his wife dearly, however she left him at the lowest factor of his life. Hence, he began to drink and forgot that he had two youngsters to take care of. The man does not expose that Bruce and Chris are his sons, however apologizes to them. By the give up of it, the brothers are left, crying somewhere else. Jack has started to work for the MMA, hire Jian Yang. He provides Jack a lot of money to drug a fighter's drink in the subsequent game. Jack is reluctant, however is pressured into accepting the offer. On the day of the fight, John Yang sponsors a fighter, however bets cash on his loss. Jack puts pills in the fighter's drink, however is caught while doing so. Before he can blame Ji Yang, he is crushed up and locked interior a locker. A whilst later, Henry arrives there and asks the fighters if they have considered his student. The guys ask him to return home. But Jack, from interior the locker, yells for help. After discovering out he is being trapped, Henry assaults them and overpowers them easily. When the fighters step in, it gets a bit intense. But Henry dodges their assaults efficiently. By the cease of Eddie, knocks out their high-quality fighter who is supposed to compete in a few minutes. In the following scene, they're at a medical institution where Henry gets handled for his wounds. Jack tries to reveal the reality about John Yang, however is made to shut up. The information makes it to the television, and Henry starts off evolve, being acknowledged as the man who beat up an expert fighter to keep his student. His popularity in faculty grows, and the college students begin to recognize him. They even get up to welcome him to the classification, in contrast to how they have been earlier. A flashback suggests us that Henry used to be a prankster when he used to be in school. He even threw water balloons at a student who was once enjoying piano for the parents. In an event later, he fought the equal student and broke his hand. He used to be suspended for the fight, after which he had to fly to the States, beginning that day. The students pay attention when Henry teaches in class and learn about hard for the upcoming college entrance test. Each person is doing great, except Bruce, who has grown addicted to pills. It turns out that while Charlie became to video games to avoid his family's problem, Bruce commenced doing pills due to the fact he is unfocused. He does very badly in the mock entrance test. Henry promises to assist him, but Bruce grows more depressed with time. Eventually he jumps off the balcony of his house. He is rushed to the health facility and goes into a coma. The media twists the news and blames it on the school and Henry for what Bruce did. The officers from the education board interview Henry and figure out to revoke his educating license. When he packs his things and leaves the school, the students chase him, asking him to stay there, heartbroken by way of his absence. However, they understand that they must ace their upcoming test to make him proud. From that day on, they find out about twice as challenging to prove to the board that Henry is a properly teacher. On the day of the test, Jack, alongside with all of his classmates, get a text from Henry, asking them to meet in the school an hour before the exam. When the students gather, they locate out that it used to be John Yang's trick to hold them restrained in the school, so they may not make it to the examination corridor on time. He is doing this to train Henry a lesson. A whilst later, Henry arrives at faculty and finds out about John Yang's plan. He lets the students free and fights all of John Yang's people to end them from harming the children. They get away and quickly make their way to the examination hall. While Henry fights John Yang, whilst they are battle one-on-one, Jia Yang reveals that he was once the man who Henry had thrown water balloons at when he used to be little. It turns out that ever considering Henry broke his arm, he wasn't capable to compete in a large song competition. Ever due to the fact the incident, he hasn't touched a piano and blames Henry for ruining his dream. Henry tries to cause with him, but is attacked yet again. The hostilities to get a preserve of a knife at last Henry receives in a chase to kill him, however doesn't do it. He asks for forgiveness for what he did when he was little and walks away. The students reach the examination hall at the proper time and hold the check. Cut to a few weeks later, they all pass by with flying colors. John Yang starts to evolve to play the piano again, however he has a lot to practice earlier than he gets as desirable as he used to be. Bruce recovers rapidly and guarantees to attend the next year's entrance test. The important is also delighted due to the fact the board decides to give them a 20% bonus fund because their students did very nicely in the entrance test. Henry returns to teaching and does the fire sprinkler trick on another batch of students. Subscribe for more videos like this, flip on notifications and depart a like to assist the channel out. Thank you for watching.